All right, today, the 7th of April, marks World Health Day, and this year focuses on depression, which is not only a very misunderstood mental illness, but also one that can lead to many other complications in other areas of our health, including our heart health. And today, we're joined by consultant psychiatrist Dr. Unita Chetty, representing the Heart and Stroke Foundation of South Africa. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I wish you good health on World Health Day.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Chetty, we've all heard about depression before, but I think it is something that is quite misunderstood. You know, what should we be looking out for in ourselves or in someone else if we're looking for signs that that person might be suffering from depression?
Well, I think when we talk about somebody being depressed, I mean, first of all, we must know that we're not talking about having a bad day or just feeling stressed. We're talking about somebody who has a very deep and persistent sadness that lasts for weeks on end. But that's usually accompanied by this feeling of loss of enjoyment, of all the activities that they normally enjoy. I would say that the things you look out for that are symptoms of depression are things like a loss of appetite, the inability to sleep, being extremely fatigued and tired, a loss of libido, what I call the thinking signs, where you can't concentrate, you have memory loss, and negative thinking about yourself, other people, and in profound cases, suicidal ideation. So if you recognize those kind of symptoms, there's a chance that you could be depressed. Yeah.
And a shocking statistic that the World Health Organization estimates that 300 million people suffer from depression worldwide, and this includes young people and children. Why is it so common these days among our young people, and also why did the World Health Organization choose to focus on depression this time around?
To answer that first, is they've chosen to focus on depression because they've recognized it's the leading cause of illness and disability worldwide. And this entire year actually is the year of depression. The increase in depression in the last 10 years has been more than 10% worldwide. Why? I think if we talk about young people, I think it's a big change in terms of society and the pressures that young people have to face these days. There are many reasons, multifactorial, but I think let's look at technology and social media and the pressures that young people have to face these days. It's very different to what they dealt with in the past. So I think we live in a very different, changing society, not to mention all the other things that go on in the world.
Absolutely, yeah. And then when you think about depression, you usually think about something associated with your mind, but you don't necessarily think that it would affect or even attack your heart health. How so? How are these two things linked?
Yes, in fact, recently we now do have very conclusive evidence that depression does lead to cardiac heart disease. And, you know, we know that the neurochemical pathways of stress itself can actually lead to heart disease. So what I'm trying to say is that depression is now seen as a risk factor equal to that of cigarette smoking, obesity, high cholesterol levels, in terms of causing heart disease. So if you have depression, you should be checking your heart regularly.
Absolutely.
So there is a link. They found a link now between depression and heart disease.
And if you could quickly give us a few tips on how somebody can go about managing depression, how do you do that?
Well, I would think the first thing is to identify that you're depressed. And if you recognize the symptoms, is to actually seek help, whether it's speaking to a family member or then going to your GP, who might refer you on to a psychologist, etc. But the things you can do for yourself would be simple things that are very effective, like exercise. I mean, there are studies to show exercise actually improves your mood levels. Eating a balanced diet, it sounds so simple, but again, if you eat well, you actually improve your mood levels. Socializing, spending time with people, not isolating yourself, again, will help. And I suppose the last thing is reaching out to organizations like the Heart and Stroke Foundation or SADAG, you know, for help.
Dr. Chetty, thank you so much for joining us. And right now on the screen, you have the number of the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. This is their mental health line that you can call them on 011 234 4837, as we wish you all good health on this World Health Day.